Hello everyone, this is the Season 3 commentary for my stop motion Funko Street. I'm actually kind of under the weather as I record this, so you might hear some coughing, some sniffling, yeah. So, and by the way, fun fact, as you can tell by the length of this video, this season was a total of an hour and 22 minutes long. And that means it's longer than the first two seasons combined. So yeah, I'm very happy about that. I wanted longer episodes, a lot more, just a lot more content overall. Because, actually, before I go into that, if you guys haven't watched this, please watch this. Well, obviously start with the first episode and make your way to episode 30. Because right now there's 30 episodes out. Right now I'm recording a commentary for episodes 21 to 30 for Season 3 of this show. So yeah, please watch that first before you watch this. So yeah, and I have commentaries for the first season and the second season if you want to check those out as well. Anyways, so before I talk about what's going on here, I have plenty of time to talk here. Unlike the other commentaries I did not have much time because the episodes were very short, with the exception of a few. Like in Season 2, there was about like 2 or 3 episodes that I would say had a good length. Season 1, all the episodes were pretty short except for the last one. And then in this season, we have about 6 to 9 minutes. I think only one episode was 6 minutes, and that was episode 3. 23. It was closer to 7 minutes, actually, but yeah, that was the shortest episode, and then the longest episode is episode 30, the last episode of this season. It was about 10 minutes, almost 10 minutes. So yeah, a lot of these episodes, or all these episodes, are very long, and I'm happy about that. Because when I started out the show, I didn't really, I was just going to do it for fun. Like, I was going to have little short episodes, comedy bits here and there. It's pretty much just going to be like a comedy, I guess, with, unique characters, silly characters. And then eventually, I introduced Pinhead and a bunch of craziness. So I said, you know what, I'm going to turn this into a drama. It's still going to be funny, but I'm going to make this an episodic, like a television show. There's going to be, crazy things that happen, plot twists, ups and downs, all this stuff. So yeah, as it went along, I did Season 2. Well, Season 1 was just whatever, and then I made something out of it in the finale. The last few episodes of Season 1, I decided to introduce this time travel thing. Doc Brown, how he was Travis, an older version. And I made up this scenario where, Jeffrey got killed by Negan, so he had to travel back in time. So yeah, that's what Season 2 was all about. And then Doc Brown dies, and then, there's a change in the plot to where Pinhead actually gets killed, and it's revealed that Saul Goodman is the Joker, who's going to be the next main villain. Because in the original timeline, of course, Pinhead took Saul with him, and we didn't know what happened to Saul. We didn't find out that Saul was the Joker. But of course, like I said, in the new timeline where Doc Brown went back, they find out that Saul Goodman is the Joker, and the Joker kills Pinhead. You can assume that in the original timeline, because Pinhead had Chucky and Big Daddy and Ash Williams with him, that maybe they all were too strong for Saul to fight. So he decided to keep his Saul identity and not turn into, reveal himself as the Joker. But of course, like I said, in the new timeline, Collector showed up and killed most of them. Pinhead was by himself, so yeah. Joker decided to reveal himself. And that's who we have as the villain in this season here. Another thing I wanted to do with this season was, if you'll notice, see, there's the sickness kicking in. Sorry about that. I've had a sore throat, headache, and congestion problems for the past 4 or 5 days. And I was sick last month, or a few weeks ago, and it was just as bad. But, yeah, I don't know what's going on. As soon as I get rid of this, I'm getting a flu shot. So, yeah. Anyways, if you notice, there's a lot of things in this show so far that have like repeated. Like that's the thing I wanted to do, is that history repeats itself. Like even if you change the timeline, because if you notice, the Ghostbusters right at the beginning of this episode, their car broke down. Well, it didn't break down; it got ruined by Brock. And if you remember in the first season, the same thing happened. Their car broke down. They needed help with their car. Also in this season, the friendship between, well, not friendship, but the, rivalry / friendship, eventually, of Travis and Rick is a repeated, repeats from what happened with the other Travis and Rick that built the time machine. Also, in season 2, when Travis shot Saul, that happened in season 1. When he first saw him. Like, what I'm trying to say is that certain things happen, even if you change the timeline, just the same things repeat. So, I wanted to do this thing this season, where I wanted to delve into the whole Rick and Travis dynamic, but also, the Joker's there to make you think, okay, when season 2 ended, you're like, okay, season 3, they're going to go to war with the Joker, it's going to be a huge battle, blah, 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 all this stuff. But really, this season is really about Travis and Rick. Joker's just there to, make everything, to make things move forward, to make certain things happen between them. But, yeah, I thought it'd be interesting to do it. And another thing I wanted to do was, leave you with the impression that Travis and Jeffrey and C-3PO and, Daryl and Rick, they stand no chance against the Joker. Because Joker's got Joker himself, the Joker bot, Brock, both of which are very strong, Harley with her little baseball bat, and Hannibal, who he's turned batshit crazy, as you'll see here. And that's another thing I want to do too. I have this Funko Pop here that, Hannibal's going to show up right there. That one where it's a Batman, but it's Joker dressed as the Batman. I got that Funko Pop in a loot crate. And I never really liked it, to be honest. I mean, it's okay. But, I was, at some point, I want to use every single pop I own on this show. So I was wondering, how am I going to use that one? The Batman Joker one. So I came up with this idea that, he captured Hannibal at the end of season 2. Well, not captured, he took him with him. That he would spend time with Hannibal and turn him crazy. So that's how I decided to do that. And Hannibal would end up dressing like him and wearing a costume. So, yeah, that kind of worked itself out pretty nicely there. Need to take a drink of water real quick. Oh, if you notice, too, in this season, I've added my usual video intro right there. And I've also added this intro, which I used on a stop motion I did called Newt and the Giant Ball, which I want to make more episodes for. It was this little video I did with this little alien, tiny little alien thing I have, and I called it Newt. I want to make more of those Newt episodes. It's just a little short thing I did if you want to look it up and go back to it. But I included that intro, TGM Films, with some artwork I made. I made that little cool intro just to, just to have a little thing for myself. When I make stuff, I want to use that intro to say, okay, this is, my property, I guess. I don't know. It's just like a little cool thing I made. TGM are my initials, if you didn't know that. Anyways, so what was I saying? Oh, I want to talk about the titles also in the intro. One of my favorite things about doing this is coming up with titles. So I'll do, each episode I'll talk about the title. But the first episode that just, ended was called The Tale of Slim Jim. Now, I came up with that because the thing is, I write the episode first. And by the way, this season, I wanted to make sure it was very long. So I went on Microsoft Word and typed up all the, I typed up all the episodes, which is something I've been doing, since the last season. Season 1, I actually didn't really write the episodes until, like, the last few. I wrote them on, like, my notepad on my iPod, or my iPhone, I should say. And season 2, I said, all right, I'm going to write all the episodes, but I'm going to do it on Microsoft Word. So I know, I can see it better, I can read it better when I have to record the voices. And yeah, it's just way better to type on Microsoft Word, obviously. So this season, I decided to write. I wanted to make sure these episodes were long, so I made sure each episode was at least 5 pages long. And every episode in the season here is 5 pages long, except for the last two, because, those episodes are slightly longer. and they include a lot more in them. I think 9 and 10 of this season were like 6 or 7 pages each. I still have the document saved. I could pull it up if I need to, but I'm not going to do that right now. Anyways, so episode 21 there was called The Tale of Slim Jim. And I came up with that because, as noted, the Joker is Saul Goodman, who, if you watch the show Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, his real name is revealed in Better Call Saul as James McGill. So I decided to use that as the Joker's name, of course, James McGill, because, it has a J in it, so it kind of works. And if you watch Better Call Saul, the very first episode, he's talking to the skateboarder kids that, he tries to scam people with, which doesn't work out very well. He tells them this story about Slippin' Jimmy, and Slippin' Jimmy is Saul himself, James McGill. So when I wrote this episode, or episode 21, the one before this, I knew that Joker was going to tell, I had this story written out to, it's like a second introduction to the Joker, because, we hadn't seen him since the end of season 2. It's been a couple months. So I was going to have this thing where, okay, here's your next intro to the Joker. He's going to be talking to Hannibal. He's going to tell this story about himself, but he's not going to say it's about himself until the end. But he's going to use the name Jimmy, of course, to kind of confuse him. And I got that from Better Call Saul when he talked about the story about Slippin' Jimmy. So I said, okay, I'm going to use the name Jimmy, but I'm not going to say, I'm not going to say Jimmy, I'll say Jim. And I came up with this idea, Slim Jim, because I'm a big wrestling fan. Joker was going to tell the story about this little kid that was like really skinny, so I said, oh, Slim Jim. Randy Savage used to say slap him to Slim Jim, that's why I said wrestling. But, so yeah, I came up with a story about Slim Jim. So I said, okay, I'm going to call it The Tale of Slim Jim. So there you go. That's where that title kind of came to be, if that makes any sense. By the way, you'll notice the organic protein right behind Lewis there. That's actually where I just keep them, and it kind of worked. It kind of disguises where they really are on the floor right there, because behind those protein cases, I guess you could call them, is where the time machine is supposed to be, the Blu-ray shelf where I keep the time machine. So it kind of disguised that area right there pretty well. And by the way, I highly recommend that protein if you work out and stuff. Orgain protein. It's organic and it tastes pretty good. The only problem is if you use a shaker cup, it's kind of clumpy. It clumps together. I don't use a blender, I use a shaker cup. I've used other proteins like Gold Standard Whey, and it tasted good. It did not clump up, but it had certain ingredients in it that you should not have, like sucralose and all this other crap. So I decided to try organic protein. So yeah, this has nothing to do with the show, but I thought I'd just recommend that very quickly. Anyways, so yeah, it's blocked. Behind those are that you could see the shelf, so it's kind of good that those are there. That's where I keep them anyway. See right there, there's the shelf. If you look to the bottom left there, that's where Lewis was and the Ghostbusters were. Oh, and right here, I'd like to point out, it went by already, but when Slimer got in the time machine, that's another thing with history repeating itself, because if you remember in Season 1, Slimer got in the time machine. Oh no, Season 1 and 2, I guess you could say. Oh no, it was just Season 1. Yeah, just Season 1. When Doc first arrived in the time machine and went to go, he told the Ghostbusters to watch the time machine, and then Slimer got inside of it. Yeah, that's kind of history repeating itself again. Also, what I was trying to say, when you saw Slimer just now go in the time machine, if you look to the top left and the top right, you can see stuff that you're not supposed to see. Like, you can see Funko, like, see the chair on the left right there? That's where I sit and take all the pictures and do my videos and whatnot. The desk right there, that's Funko Street. That's where the main action takes place. But you can see on the actual desk is some things that you're not. I forgot to take down. You can see my Joker statue. You can see my Willy Wonka Funko Pop. You can see the Iron Giant. Stuff I usually have there. So that's a little goof right there. You can kind of see it when you get to a wide shot again. These are kind of close-ups. And also on the right, you can see my bookshelf. And on the top of the bookshelf, I have a bunch of horror-related items. You can see the Chucky pop and the Hannibal Lecter pop. So yeah, that's kind of a mistake. I forgot to, well, I wasn't going to clear the bookshelf off. I was just supposed to not show it. I didn't know when I took the picture that it actually showed on there. So yeah, that's a little mistake, but you can go back and look at it if you want. I think you could see it here too when it gets wide. But yeah, if you go back to where Slimer went in the time machine, you can see it for sure. But also something I'd like to point out here is when, well, season 1, I did see right there, you can see the Joker statue on the desk right there, you can see it. It's blurry. Oh well. Also, what I was trying to say, in season 1 and 2, well, no, season 1, I took the pictures with the camera I use right here. Is a Canon 7D. It's a very good camera. It takes very good pictures, very good video, very high quality. But it's a pain in the ass to take pictures right here on my bed with it and take pictures on the floor with it. So season 1 I did it. Season 1 I didn't have any scenes on the floor though, I think. No, nothing took place on the floor, but there were certain scenes right here that took place on my bed. You know, with Doc on the time machine and the Ghostbusters with the car broken down. And I took the pictures with the Canon 7D, but it was just a pain in the ass. I had to, you know, and also the lighting is a big deal, so I had to drag my lamp over there to do it, and it doesn't really, you know, light everything that well, so it's really tough. So what I decided to do in season 2 was, okay, I'll just take the pictures with my iPhone, and I did that for the scenes on the bed and the scenes on the floor, and the pictures were not that good. I mean, they look like crap, and also they were different aspect ratio, so there was black bars on the side, on the left and right. If you go back and watch season 2, you'll notice the pictures, yeah, they look pretty bad. Excuse me. So what I decided to do, I said, okay, season 3, I'm gonna up the quality. I'm gonna up everything. I'm gonna make the episodes longer. I'm gonna have way more dialogue, way more action, way more character development, and I'm gonna make sure every single picture is taken on the Canon 7D. So what I decided to do was, you know, get on the floor and do it. And it was a pain, but I did it. Now the problem with the Canon 7D is that it's one of those special, you know, it's like it's an actual, you know, camera. It's not no piece of crap. You have to, there's a part where you put your eye, you know, there's a lens, there's a, what do you call it? The part where you put your eye up to it so you can see what the picture looks like before you take it. There's a screen, but that's only for video. So when you're taking a video, you can watch on the screen what it's going to look like. But if you're taking a picture, you have to put your eye in the hole to see what you're doing. So it was challenging because, you know, I'm on the floor, but I can't really do that. So what I decided to do was, before I took the picture, I had the camera on the floor or on the bed, for example, and I took my iPhone and put on the camera, not the front-facing one, the other one, the one on the back. And what I did, I put the camera up to the eyepiece, and I looked on my iPhone screen to see what it looks like. So yeah, I was able to see what the picture was going to look like, and if I needed to focus, if I needed to, you know, zoom out or zoom in. So that was something that I came up with. But let me tell you, that was a pain. And also what I did in this season, every scene that takes place right here on the desk, I did at the same time. Well, I did it over a period of like 2 or 3 days, I think. Every scene that takes place on the floor, I did at the same time. So these episodes weren't shot, you know, in sequence. Nothing was shot in sequence. Every scene that takes place, for example, on the DVD shelf, usually where the Joker is, you know, where his pretty much his base, I guess you could say, I did all those scenes at the same time. I did those in one day. It was a lot easier doing it that way. I know movies do that. They take, you know, they're not going to go back to the same, you know, a set on different occasions. They could just do all the scenes that take place in a certain set at once. So that's what I did with this, and it's a lot easier. And all the scenes that take place on my bed, I did it in the same day. So yeah. Also, alright, let me go back to the episode title. So episode 22 was called, which just passed over. See, I'm falling behind here. I thought I had plenty of time to talk, but not really. Because there's a lot to cover. I'm sure by the end of this, I'm going to run out of stuff to talk about. But episode 22 was called The Other Mad Scientist, and other in parentheses. Because I didn't really have a title for that one, but I knew I wanted to refer to Lewis because he was a new character. So what I did was I came up with this idea. Okay, well, Lewis is like Doc, but he's crazy. He's stupid, but he's funny. And he built that helmet. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna call him a mad scientist, because that's what he is, kind of. But I'm gonna say the other mad scientist, in parentheses, because the Ghostbusters refer to him as the mad scientist, but we, the viewers, were aware of Doc, who was the first scientist. I guess you could call him a mad scientist if you want. I don't know. Building a time machine, you got to be mad to do that. So yeah, I came up with this idea. I would just call him the other mad scientist for the title in parentheses. I thought that'd be funny. Now this episode is probably my favorite title I've ever come up with for this show. The title is Mick Fucked, which I actually got that from a picture, a meme of Ronald McDonald screaming into a telephone, and it said, "You Mick Fucked Up," which was a joke between me and my two best friends, Rob and Patrick. We would send that picture to each other nonstop. I don't know who found it or when I cannot speak. I don't know where we found that picture or when, or which one of us found it, when we found it, but it's a funny picture. You can probably Google it. It's a picture of Ronald McDonald screaming to a phone, like I said. And, of course, Brock here knows about James McGill, because if you remember in the first, in Season 2, you find out Gustavo is Travis's boss. Travis is a hitman for Gustavo, and he sends Travis out to kill James McGill, the man that burnt Gustavo's face. And also he sends Hank and Brock after Mr. White's gang. That's who James McGill, Saul Goodman, is working with. So pretty much what I'm trying to say here is that Brock was after James McGill as well, but he did not know the Joker was James McGill because, he uses different names, like the Joker and Saul Goodman. So this episode, I wanted to reveal to Brock that he's working with James McGill and that things would go to hell. It looks like right here the Joker's going to win. He's got the advantage. So yeah, I decided, okay, what would be funny is if I throw a curveball and it looks like everything goes to hell for the Joker. Jokerbot gets destroyed, Brock turns on him, Hannibal gets shot, just all this craziness. So I decided to call the episode Mick Fucked. And I had to put a little censor bleep in the title, because I don't think it's a good idea to put the F word in your YouTube video title. So, but in the episode here, of course, you could actually see the title uncensored when the episode starts. And also, if you watch Orange is the New Black, which I really love that show. Season 3 and 4 weren't that good, though, in my opinion. But Season 2 was phenomenal. Season 1 was great. In Season 1, there was an episode called Fucksgiving, like called Thanksgiving. It was an episode that took place on Thanksgiving, but a lot of things went wrong for the characters, so it was called, Fucksgiving. But there was a little censor bleep in the title, so I decided to go, kind of that route. So it's similar. It's kind of in tribute to Orange is the New Black, and also that McDonald's meme I saw. So yeah, I just love that title. I think it's hilarious, and I love this episode here. So I would say my favorite episodes this season were this one, episode 23. Also, episode 25, Drastic Measures, because that is just an insane episode. I thought, people, if you watch that, your jaw would drop. Because, Travis kills Daryl. Spoilers, but that's coming up after this one. This is episode 24. And my other favorites would have to be the last two, also. Episode 29 and episode 30, because they're just epic. So, sorry, I gotta drink water to get through this. My throat hurts. Episode 24 is called Corpse Fairies because I wanted to introduce this concept of what happened to Deadpool. Now, I knew right when I killed Deadpool in Season 2, I knew that I was going to keep him around as a ghost. If you guys watch Red vs. Blue, Red vs. Blue, it's hilarious. It's one of the best shows I ever watched. I never got to finish it. But there's this character in Red vs. Blue who's probably the best character, and his name is Church. Well, his last name is Church, but he's just called Church. And he dies very early on in the show, like within the first 10 episodes, I think. And for the rest of the entire show, he's a ghost. He possesses people, it's just hilarious. So I decided to do this, I decided to give Deadpool here the Church treatment. Because with Deadpool, he's a character that, he's got a machine gun, he's got a sword, he can teleport, he can bring in objects, he's just very, very powerful. So I decided, he could easily kill any villain that arrives, any problem that arises. He could kill anybody. So I decided to kill him off, just so, I don't there's no way for the villain to lose. It's not obvious. There's no obvious way for whoever the villain is to lose, because Deadpool could just easily kill them. So that's one of the reasons I killed Deadpool off. But I decided to give him the church treatment, where he's like the best character, but he's going to be a ghost moving forward. So I decided to, include this dialogue here, because I wanted Deadpool to have appearances here and there. And obviously in this season, he actually kind of plays a big part at the end when he's the reason that Stay Puft Marshmallow Man gets summoned, using his real-life knowledge, his, breaking the fourth wall, knowing about the Ghostbusters movie, knowing about Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, to summon that being. So I decided to include this dialogue here, which actually kind of sets up things in the future. I'm not going to really say much on that, but I will say there are good reasons why I included this dialogue here about the afterlife and people ending up in the same place, and why Deadpool is not with them, and why bodies disappear. There's actually a reason behind that. I included a line here, though, where Deadpool's like, "Oh, I don't know why the bodies disappear, but I think it's because the guy writing this show can't come up with a reason as to why a body just disappears when someone's dead." Which is true, sometimes I'll kill somebody off, if you go in the older episodes, and their bodies won't be there. They'll just be gone. Like, say, Pinhead and Gustavo, for example, when they were killed on the floor. I've shot other scenes on the floor, obviously, and those bodies aren't there anymore. So where did the bodies go? They can't just decompose that fast, right? If decomposing is a thing in this universe, I don't know. I should kind of set rules for myself. But, so yeah, I included that banter there. And I just, I didn't really know what to call this episode, so I came up with this concept about the corpse fairies. Deadpool's got his own little ideas, which, he says, they're like tooth fairies, except of taking your teeth and leaving you money, they take your bodies and send you to hell. So, pretty much, your body, if you die on this show, your body's going to disappear, but you're going to reappear in the afterlife somewhere. But I'm not going to say nothing else on that for now, but, you'll see more of that in the future, I promise. Yeah, so everything's, if something's said, it's for a reason, and that's what that is. It's setting up things, but not in this season, though. Well, you'll notice in episode 30, which is a ways from now, probably an hour from now, at the very end, you'll see a mysterious figure standing next to Deadpool, who is, dead in the afterlife. And if you can't tell who that is, I'm not going to say anything, but that is setting up things. So just stay tuned for that in the future. So yeah. Wow, did I run out of stuff to talk about already? No, I don't think so. Also, I wanted to, if you notice in this season, there's a lot of Ghostbuster stuff. Because you have Lewis, you got the Ghostbusters themselves, you got Slimer, you got the Ecto-1, you got Dana/Zool, and you got Stay Puft at the end. What I wanted to do was, back when I was originally planning this season, like when season 2 was finished, when I was like first, brainstorming ideas for this, I was thinking that the Ghostbusters would help Travis and company fight off Joker by helping them and giving them the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, who they captured. Now, this is before they made Funko Pops for Zool and Dana and Lewis, the 3-pack that I bought a couple of months ago. Now, when I found out that they made those, I pre-ordered them right away. Well, not pre-ordered them. They were actually out already, I think. But I ordered them online immediately, as soon as I heard that they made that. So now I had Zool, Dana, and Lewis. So I said, you know what? I'm actually going to incorporate these guys into the story, and they can actually summon Stay Puft Marshmallow Man instead, and he can be the guy that they fight at the end of the season, just as like, a crazy, awesome, epic last episode, after the Joker's been defeated already. So, originally I had it planned to where Stay Puft was this monster that they had trapped at their headquarters, the Ghostbusters, and that they would give Stay Puft to Travis's gang to help fight the Joker, and Stay Puft would be the one that takes the Joker's group down. But I decided to change that, obviously. So if it weren't for Funko making those pops of Lewis and Dana and Zool, the giant creature, I would not have done it. Probably would have done it the original way. I don't know. Maybe I would have changed it, but yeah, things would have played out a lot differently. It all depends on what Funko decides to make, you know. So, like for example, in season 1, I had the Negan action figure because there was no Negan pop. Now there's a Negan pop from Walking Dead, and I have it. So, you know, if they had that Negan pop already, I would have used that. But they didn't have it yet, because I don't even think the season 6 finale aired yet at the time I made that. No, it did air. Yeah, it was on, but they didn't make the pop yet. So, yeah. And right here also, I needed this thing to happen with Travis and Rick. I said, you know, during these episodes here, there's gonna be back and forth. Rick's gonna join Joker's group. Rick's gonna go out on his own. Travis is gonna get captured. Rick's gonna, you know, all this stuff. Rick's gonna break Travis out, and then they're gonna, you know, work together for a bit and sort things out later. And then, you know, Joker manipulates Rick in episode 29 and makes him fight and all this stuff. And I thought that would work well to make the, you know, the dynamic between Travis and Rick last all season. Have this back and forth. Now here is probably the most shocking episode. Episode 25, Drastic Measures. When I came up with this idea for Travis to kill Daryl, I was just like, oh my god, this is awesome. I'm a genius. Well, I'm not a genius, but, you know, I thought that was some awesome storytelling. To where it just shows, you know, what kind of person Travis is. Before, you know, by the end of the season, Travis has changed a lot. But right here, this is his lowest moment when he kills Daryl, which we haven't gotten to yet, but it'll come up in a couple of minutes. So I came up with a scenario where Rick's gonna, you know, he's gonna run into the Joker, and they're gonna formulate this plan because Rick doesn't care about Travis now. After Travis kicked him out at gunpoint, I wanted Travis to have this intensity to him. So that's why, you know, Travis just put him at gunpoint like that in episode 22. But I had this idea here where Rick and Joker are going to work together. They're going to make it look like they had Rick hostage. That way they could get to the time machine. And by the way, I had Slimer go in the time machine just so it could be gone. Just so it wasn't there anymore. So all this craziness could happen. Everything goes to hell in a handbasket because the time machine is missing all of a sudden. And, by the way, I did not tell you where Slimer took the time machine. That is something that you will find out later on. So, but I will say, you know, he did go into the future. Because if you go into the past with a time machine, all this right here is going to cease to exist. Because he went into the past, everything's going to change no matter what. Even if he does the slightest thing. So, Slimer went into the future. I'm not going to say how far into the future. I'm not going to say what he did. But you'll find out later on. And to be honest, I don't know what he did. I have no idea. I did not come up with it yet, so... I'm just letting you know. I have no idea what he did yet. I'm going to think of something, though. So anyways, so yeah. The time machine's gone. So I had this, you know... It's gone, so now they got to figure out, okay, so Rick's going to go over here, Joker's going to have him hostage, and then they're going to force Travis and the gang to take them to the time machine. But they can't because it's gone. So Joker's like, okay, just take me to this spot where it's supposed to be. But Travis, of course, says no, because Travis's ego is another problem. Another villain, I guess you could say. It's what causes everything to go to hell. Go to hell in a handbasket. I don't usually say that phrase, but I just said it twice. Hell in a handbasket. 3 times. So, yeah, this crazy scenario here and also what I wanted to do was have 3 battles between the groups in this season. The first one was in episode 23. Travis and his group won that battle. And then the second battle is right here in episode 25. And Joker's group wins that battle because Brock gets killed. Travis gets taken hostage, and Daryl, gets killed too by Travis. Joker, nothing bad happens to Joker. I mean, Rick gets shot, sure, but Rick wasn't even part of Joker's group, if you think about it. So, Joker wins this battle, and then the third and final battle, of course, was episode 29, which is coming up later, and Travis's group wins that battle. So they win the war, pretty much. So, I wanted the the battle where the Joker wins to be shocking. I wanted it to be, crazy. I wanted a lot of chaos. And it is chaotic. Right when Travis shoots Daryl, it's just, there's no turning back from that point. That's just crazy right there. And like I said, it's, for season 2, you pretty much realize that Travis is the main character of the show now. And this season goes to show his arc, how he's, he was a hitman, but in season 2 he kind of quit. He said, "I'm done, Gustavo. I'm not a hitman anymore." And now he's with these people. But as a hitman, Travis kind of, he didn't really have much humanity to him. Humanity to him. He would kill people, blah blah blah. I might delve into that more in the future about, Travis as a hitman, maybe some flashbacks. But so yeah, Travis was not really a good person, and it goes to show right here. If Travis doesn't have his way, he's gonna hurt you. Like he's gonna either, he kicked Rick out. Daryl right here pushes him down, and that alone sets Travis off to where he just kills him. And that is, that probably will leave Travis as a polarizing character, either to where you love him or you hate him. He's very flawed. A lot of these people are flawed. Everybody's flawed. But I don't know. By the end of this, I made it to where by the end of this season, Rick has forgiven Travis, and it takes a lot for that to happen, but it happens. And I would say it's believable, but maybe some people won't agree. Maybe right there, maybe some people won't think you can come back from that, what just happened right there. And I can understand that. That's fine. But, yeah. And Rick shoots Travis. Brock gets shot a bunch of times right here. And then Joker and Harley kill Brock. And Rick's beating up on Travis. C-3PO's begging for him to stop. Just chaos. So yeah, I love this episode right here. One of my favorites I've done for sure. And, the thing is, also with this season, when I said I wanted to improve the quality, now in my Season 2 commentary, I was complaining about how I wasn't able to include sound effects and music at the same time because I use Windows Movie Maker. Yes, I'm cheap like that. But it works well, I'm not gonna lie. Once you use it so much, you learn how to use it very well. And I must say, it's not that bad of a program. It's free, so I mean, it's not that bad for being free. And I was complaining because what I would do, I would, make the I would include the voices, the music, and the sound effects. But there was one problem with that. I wasn't able to make the sound effects and music play at the same time on the same track because they're both considered to be music files when you put them into Movie Maker. So what I did for this season, I made one file of the stop motion without sound effects, without music, only the voiceover. And what I did, I opened up a new file, and I included that first one I made with just the voices, and then I added sound effects. And then I saved it, and then I opened up a new project and put in the sound effect and voices one without any music. And then I added music, and then I added the intros and the end credit thing, whatever, the to be continued. So pretty much I made the episode without music or sound effects, and I had to rewatch it over and over. I've watched every episode in this season at least 4 or 5 times without any sound effect or music or, one or the other, It was very weird. I'm going to say that. Listening to these episodes without music or sound effects is just weird. Like, I've gotten used to the sound of my voice. Everyone hates the sound of their voice when they first hear it because it doesn't sound like what it sounds like to you, of course. Like, my voice right now does not sound like when I hear it. I used to hate the sound of my voice, man. I don't know how you guys can stand it. Maybe you've turned this off by now. I don't blame you. Because I used to hate my voice, but now I am so used to my voice because I've been doing YouTube, and I've heard it so many times, and I've watched these episodes hearing just my voice, and I'm so used to it now. But I gotta tell you, these episodes are so weird without the music or sound effects. I'm like, are these episodes gonna be any good? I mean, it doesn't seem that good. And then once you add the sound effects, it gets a little better. But then once you add the music, it completely changes it. Like, it's like, oh, that just went from like a 5 to a 10. Like, it's weird like that, you know? But that's the way I do it now. And I've gotten a lot better with the pictures. Some of these pictures that were on the floor, like right here, this is actually on the floor. I have them just standing against the desk here to make it look like they're talking inside of the car, inside of the RV. Some of the pictures I took on the floor were kind of blurry, but like I said, I was judging them off the iPhone screen, looking through the eye hole of the camera. So, yeah. But they weren't that bad. But I will say, overall, the actual, in terms of, you know, technique, I guess you could say, you know, technique, I guess, yeah, techniques, is that the word? What am I trying to say? The behind the scenes aspect, I guess, the actual making of was a lot better. The overall quality of the content was a lot better. So yeah, that's something I wanted to achieve. Well, wait, why was I going on about that though? Sorry, I'm losing track here. I'm sick. Don't judge me. Take another sip of water here. And as you'll notice, Travis here is wrapped up in some nice Skull Candy headphones. I love Skull Candy. Also, you might be wondering, if Harley and Joker, well, Harley made that box, how did she know Travis's fake last name? You know, Travis is, you know, in Taxi Driver, his name is Travis Bickle. That's why the box says that. But in this show, Travis's real name I came up with was Emmett Travis Brown, because he is Emmett Brown. So I just decided, oh, Travis is just his middle name. So I guess you could say when Travis was a hitman, his alias was Travis, of course, but he would be Travis Bickle, I guess. He would come up with the name Travis Bickle. But then how did Harley know his last name was Bickle? Because it says it right there on the box. You know what? I'm just not going to explain that. There is no explanation how they found that out. But, yeah, I mean, if you look at, you know, Doc Brown's box in Season 1 when he was in the box, it said Back to the Future on it. It said Dr. Emmett Brown, all this stuff. I mean, just ignore what the box says. I didn't make the box. Funko made the box, so I can't control what it says. So yeah, you're just going to have to, like, suspend your disbelief with that. And then, you know, in the episode 29 and 30, the Joker's in his box, and it says Suicide Squad on it, and it says Hot Topic exclusive. Just, you know, don't take that as part of the fiction in this, I guess you could say. Just, that's something I can't control. So yeah. That's pretty funny if you think about it, but yeah. I mean, also, if you think about it, why are they next to all these movies? You know, this is a room. This is a regular room. And they're sitting on a computer desk. They're sitting on the floor. They're sitting on the bed. They're sitting next to these DVDs. You know, it doesn't make sense. Just ignore everything else. Just focus on the characters, I guess. This is a bookshelf right here. I cleared the top shelf so I could have this take place. See right there, that picture's kind of blurry. That one's a little better, but yeah, it was hard, you know? Taking those pictures were hard. Because normally I can just take the picture on the pictures on the computer desk where all the main action takes place. Those are easy. Those I can tell if they're good or not. Because, you know, I'm sitting in a chair, I can easily look into the camera. My lamp is right there, so it's, you know, there's very good lighting. Here I had to bring the lamp over, the lighting's not that good here. It's kind of too bright if you ask me. But, yeah. You know, you just learn as you go along. You'll, you know, learn how to fix, you know, mistakes you've made in the older episodes. Just improve the quality of the show overall. So it just takes practice, I guess, and experience. But I think by the time I do the next season, there'll be little to no problems. Like it's gonna be, you know, a lot better. Like this season, I think is very good, but there were, you know, like I said, some blurry pictures. So yeah, I don't think there's gonna be any problems in the next season and moving forward, but we'll have to see. And then this episode, I decided to call The Gatekeeper, just because, I mean, I couldn't really come up with anything else. I said, oh, I'll just call it The Gatekeeper, because it's the first time you see Dana, and she's the gatekeeper. So yeah. And also, I decided to include this, the thing here with Vince Clortho. Now, when I decided to have Stay Puft be summoned at the end, I said, okay, how are they going to summon, how is Stay Puft going to get summoned? Now, if you go back and watch Ghostbusters, Zool and Vince Clortho, Lewis and Dana. Well, Lewis isn't Vince Clortho in this, so I kind of changed it up. I made Slimer actually Vince Clortho. They were able to summon Stay Puft in that movie, or Gozer, I should say. So I said, okay, I'm going to have a scenario where Vince Clortho shows up out of nowhere. But who's going to play Vince Clortho? Now, I had a Funko Pop for the lead character in Firefly. I don't watch Firefly. I know a lot of people are going to hate me for that. I tried watching Firefly once, but I just couldn't get into it. It was only the first episode, I think. So don't kill me. But I do have a Funko Pop of the lead character from Firefly. I don't even know his name. I mean, please don't kill me. And I actually got that in a sci-fi block subscription box I used to get in the mail. So I didn't buy that, okay? I mean, I technically bought it, but I didn't, buy it on purpose. So that's why I own the Firefly main character. So, like I said earlier, I wanted every single pop I own to make an appearance on the show at some point. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to have that pop of the main character from Firefly, Nathan Fillion, the actor. I know that. I'm going to have him be Vince Clortho, because I need somebody to be Vince Clortho. I'm going to have Slimer turn into the true Vince Clortho. That's who Slimer was this whole time. But I'm going to come up with this scenario where, okay, he was just trapped in his alternate form. But once he sees Dana, Zool, he can break the will. He can find the will to break from the Slimer form and turn into the true Vince Clortho. So I came up with that, and that's how that happened. So yeah, the whole time Slimer was actually a ancient spirit that's been trying to tell people what's really going on. He's not some goofball, really. Now here I decided to call this episode Blast from the Past because we have this whole situation here with Doc Brown, and Travis is seeing not the ghost of Doc Brown, but his own I guess you could say his consciousness talking to him. He's got this visualization here because he's been trapped in this box, he can't move. He's just visualizing Doc right in front of him, talking to him, telling him all this stuff here. Because deep down inside, Travis actually feels this way. Because, Doc Brown is Travis, and Doc Brown is a swell guy. He doesn't harm anybody. He built the time machine. He devoted his life to saving his friend Jeffrey. Doc is a harmless guy. And that's who Travis becomes, is a harmless guy. Like I said, he evolves. He goes from this hitman who kills without hesitation into this gentle old man that built the time machine. So Travis can be that person, but it's not who he is right now. So that's what Doc here, well, at least Travis's, what was the term I used here? Your self-consciousness or whatever? Your, not self-consciousness, your, I can't think of the term. By the way, I'm watching this without the audio, so I can't hear what they're saying. I forgot the term I used. Your, deep down inside, I forgot what I said. I need to, pull it up real quick and look at it. What does Doc Brown say here? I'm your... Oh my god, I can't think of it. I apologize, but I'm trying to remember what the heck term I used. I'm your blah 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 trying to break through your ego. What is the term? Is it self-consciousness? No, it's not. I'm your consciousness. No, it starts with an S, doesn't it? I'm your... Oh my god, I can't think of the word. What is the word? Hold on a second, I'm trying to pull this up now. Okay. Will this end the commentary? I hope not. Alright, I'm on my laptop as we speak, opening the Word document with all the dialogue. Oh, the commentary's still recording. Okay, good. Sorry about this. Okay, where is the episode? Okay, episode 27. Where is it? I'm on episode 26, it looks like. Scrolling down, 27. Okay. Rick sacrificed himself, blah, 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 blah. Oh, subconscious. Oh, that's the word. Sorry for being an idiot. I could not think of that word for the life of me. Subconscious. There we go. Okay, so Doc, right there that you saw is Travis's subconscious. Because if you don't know about the concept of your subconscious, is how you really feel about things. It's how you actually feel about things. You may think you think about something a certain way, but you really don't. Like, if you like hate a celebrity for instance, like let's say you don't like Kim Kardashian or somebody like that. Maybe in your subconscious you actually do. People hate certain things, but yet they watch it. Like they'll go to watch a video and leave a stupid comment saying, "Oh, this video's stupid, I hate it." Yet they go to the same video, like they'll sit through the whole video and watch more videos just like it. Let's say about Kim Kardashian, and they'll say, "Oh, I hate Kim Kardashian." No, you don't, because in your subconscious you really enjoy her. You really do enjoy watching her stuff, her stupid reality show, whatever. See, I'm calling it stupid, but maybe deep down inside, I don't really think it's stupid. Maybe I mean, personally, I don't really care for the stupid Keeping Up with the Kardashians. See, I called it stupid again, but maybe deep down inside, I think it's cool. I don't know. It's all in the subconscious. It's how you really feel about things, and sometimes it comes out. Let's say you lose. Let's say you were friends with somebody, and then all of a sudden they like turn on you, and you like get in a fight with them or something, and then you hate them. You hate their guts. And let's say they like get in a car accident or they die or something, then you cry. It's like, no, you hated that person. What are you talking about? You used to be friends with them. No, deep down inside, you really did care about them. If that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? The subconscious is how you really feel about things. So yeah, that's what Doc was right there. And here we have Hannibal, and also history repeating itself when Rick shows up with the machete. Now, if you go back to season 2, it was episode 15, I believe, with the flashbacks, the black and white episode, where Daryl, once again, is dead, and Rick goes crazy, holding a machete. History repeating itself. Daryl's dead, and Rick shows up wielding a machete, wearing different clothes or whatnot, looking more like a savage, with the beard and everything. So, yeah, history repeating itself again. I used the other Rick pop I have. I have 3 pops for Rick, all of which I used in episode 15, the black and white episode. So yeah. Wait, did the episode stop going? Or no, it's going. Why did it, like, slow down? It looked like it slowed down for a minute. Wait, why is... Okay, hold on a second. I think this is glitching out. Okay, I think my voice is still going, but the video isn't moving. Like, I see a picture of... The picture is of Hannibal, but he's just standing there. Okay, this is a little weird. Alright, hold on a minute. Okay, I might have to stop this. Okay, I'm almost at the 53-minute mark here. I'm going to stop the commentary and then try to restart it. Okay. Alright, that was a little weird. So I'm back now. So something happened here. I think it was because I pulled up the Word document to read the dialogue I wrote. The video stopped moving, but the audio commentary kept recording, so I wasn't able to see what was going on. It was just stuck on a picture of Hannibal there. So anyways, now I see what's happening. Rick and Travis and Lewis are in the car there. So, by the way, I came up with that banter that Lewis was saying because I saw a meme a few years ago about ATMs being a time machine. I forget exactly what the meme was, but I thought it was a funny thing, how ATM could stand for a time machine. And they actually explained how that works, like how what ATMs have to do with time and stuff. If that makes any sense. I don't know, just Google it, just type in ATM time machine meme or something, and it might come up. But anyways, so here we get Slimer. Basically I had Slimer join them just so Slimer could show up at the end there and reveal himself to be Vince Clortho. And also because Joker and Harley don't have much help. I mean, I just gave them a third person just to make it look like, it would be a big battle. Now they actually kind of have a chance against the rest of this group here, which is bigger, while Rick and Travis fight each other. So yeah, right here, C-3PO tells them all this chaos that happened that they missed out on. And now we move on to episode 28, which I refer to as the filler episode. If you don't know what filler is, basically filler is a term that people use for movies and shows and whatnot, or books, anything, pretty much, any media, that, you're telling a story, but all of a sudden you stop and you have all this pretty kind of useless stuff happening that people just refer to as filler, so you could fill up time. Certain TV shows do this. They have a thing called a bottle episode where the plot does not move forward, but things happen let's have a random episode. Like if you watch Breaking Bad, the episode with the fly, for instance, in season 3, where they try to kill the fly, it has nothing to do with anything. They just needed to fill an episode. They needed, it was a 13-episode season. They had material for 12 episodes, so they needed to make a bottle episode. A filler episode. That's what it is. It fills up the empty space, so they needed to make a 13th episode. And it was pretty much useless. It did not move anything forward. So I called this episode A Fistful of Filler, which is a reference to A Fistful of Dollars. I love that movie. I love the Dollars trilogy. So I said, okay, I'm going to call this the filler episode. I'm going to include filler in the title because it's, in my opinion, a filler episode. I'll get to that later on. So I decided to use A Fistful of Filler. I thought that would be funny. I don't know how I came up with when I decided to use A Fistful of Dollars as the reference, but yeah, I thought that was a clever title. So I think this is a filler episode mainly because it's just people finding out things that already happened and nothing really happening, except at the end when the Joker shows up and then convinces Rick to stab Travis. You know what I'm saying? That's like the only thing I would consider to be moving forward in the story. Right here we see Joker and Harley and Slimer finding out, oh, Travis escaped. Oh, they killed Hannibal. Also, C-3PO telling Jeffrey and Ray and Dana what happened at episode 25, but we already know that. We already know what happened. It's just catching up. He's just explaining. It's just dialogue, Also with Rick and Lewis and Travis finding the time machine. I guess you could say that's kind of, moving forward with the plot slightly too. But it's just a quick scene showing, we know they're going to go to the time machine and get it. That's just a quick scene showing, that they're doing that. And also how Travis has an idea for what they should do. Which is to fight the Joker and not destroy the time machine right away. Destroy it right in front of him after they've defeated him. And that they might actually do need to use it if the Joker gets the upper hand or something. So, yeah, I considered this a filler episode, but it kind of isn't, really, if you think about it. Because at the end, like I said, Rick decides to stab Travis, which is a crazy thing. And that pretty much should get you hyped for the last 2 episodes, which I think, like I said, are the best 2 in this whole season. Taking a sip of water there. And we get another Deadpool cameo, which is fun. Like I said, I wanted to have a little bit of Deadpool popping up here and there. Like, I think he's in a total of 4 episodes this season, right? He was in episode 24. He was in this episode, which is 28. And he's in 29 and 30. Oh, no, he's not in 29. Right? No, he's not in 29. He's in 30, though. I know that. No, he is in 29 at the end. When Stay Puft gets summoned. So yeah, he's in a total of 4 episodes this season. His ghost, at least. But you do physically see him at the end of 30, which is cool. So yeah, I think that was fair enough for fans of Deadpool. Right here. So yeah, like I said, this is just catching up. C-3PO does get to meet Dana. And then there's the time machine. So we got all this stuff going on. And we got a lot of characters here. You got 2 vehicles. You got the time machine. There's a lot on the desk right here. You got the tombstone, you got, Deadpool's statue, and then the Joker shows up eventually. Just a lot going on here. I wouldn't imagine all this stuff happening when I was making the first episode. I would have said, no way. There's no way I would, it would eventually lead to all this stuff. So yeah, it's cool to see how far the show's gone. It's so, and what I want, I need to say too that, this show isn't, popular, right? These episodes don't have that many views on them as I speak. I think the most viewed episode is, 90-something views, which is, nothing. But maybe one day, if my channel gets popular, and you guys can watch this commentary, in the future sometime. I'm recording this on December 2nd, 2016. Who knows? Maybe I'll be popular one day, and this show can get a lot of views. You know, it can have a lot of fans. It can have a lot of supporters, whatnot. So yeah, you never know. I mean, never say never. So, but as I speak right now, like I said, this show isn't like very popular or anything. It does not have that many views on any of the episodes, to be honest. But it's still cool to do this. You know, it's always good to do a commentary, like, you know, not too far after you've finished making something, because that's the best time to do it. That's when it's fresh in your mind. So yeah. And so yeah, I'm running out of things to say. But by the end of this, I'll have things to say. By the end of this episode, because things pick up quite a bit. Let's get some dialogue here with Dana. And I knew this was a filler episode too when I was writing it, because, you know, I said earlier I wanted each episode to be 5 pages long at least. And I was struggling to make this episode 5 pages long, so I had to include all this, like, kind of useless dialogue. Like, I added the bit there where Dana asked if Rick and Lewis were the Keymaster as well, even though Ray told her to be quiet or whatever. So yeah. And then right here we got Joker surveying what's going on. And by the way, you know, you kind of also have to, like, what's the word, or the phrase I should say, suspend your disbelief with where the Joker's base is, because that DVD shelf where his I guess you could call it his base, is obviously right next to the desk right there. They can see the desk in clear sight, but somehow Travis and them have no idea that the Joker's base is right next door. You kind of have to suspend your disbelief with that as well. So yeah, that's kind of funny there, but yeah, I kind of want to make each location seem very far apart, yet they are in reality very close. And also right here, I wanted to talk about too, when I mentioned early on with this season 3 here, when I was when I was trying to figure out what would happen, I also wanted this thing to happen where Rick and Travis would destroy the time machine, because they built it together in the original timeline. So I envisioned at the end of this season, when they defeated Joker, they would destroy the time machine right in front of him. I thought that would be a cool way to, you know, conclude the time machine, I guess you could say, storyline. I thought that was a very smart way to do it, to destroy it, to get rid of it, because they were the ones that built it. And that was another way for them to bond, you know, after they've gone through so much together, after they've hated each other and, you know, made amends and all this stuff. That would be a good way to cap it off. But I came up with this idea, you know, you'll notice in the next episode when Travis says, "All right, Rick, let's destroy the time machine," and then all of a sudden Slimer starts acting out, and they said, "What's wrong with Slimer?" And then he turns out to be Vince Clortho. That right there is the moment where, okay, no, they're not going to destroy the time machine. Right there, when it cuts to Slimer going nuts, that is going to be how C-3PO destroys the time machine, which I actually think is a better idea, because right there, before they destroy the time machine, Vince Clortho appears, Dana joins with Vince Clortho, and they summon Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and they have to fight Stay Puft, and the time machine is still sitting there. So I decided, okay, the way they're going to destroy Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is there's got to be a big explosion or something. Something huge has to happen for him to die. It's a giant monster. There's no way you can kill him easily. So I came up with this idea. Okay, how is there going to be something big enough to kill him? So I decided, you know what, C-3PO, he's kind of a side character. You know, he's kind of just there. You know, don't get me wrong, he's a fun character. He's, you know, he can be entertaining, he can be this and that. But he doesn't really do much for the overall story if you think about it. But I thought it would be cool if he had a self-destruct thing built into him, because he is a robot after all, right? So I said, okay, C-3PO can destroy Slimer by self-destruct, or not Slimer, Stay Puft by self-destructing, right? But the thing is, that's a big explosion that could kill everybody. So I said, oh, wait a minute. The time machine's still there, so he can just take him into the time machine and blow up inside of it and destroy the time machine, which is what was going to happen anyway. And that would be a cool way to, you know, make C-3PO this very heroic character and, you know, provide something, you know, to the overall plot by sacrificing himself like that. He actually does provide something to the story. He kills the, you know, the biggest threat there is, which I think is cool. And also I said that's a better way to destroy the time machine than Rick and Travis destroying it. Because if you think about it, C-3PO is the very last thing that they have of Emmett. Even Travis says that. You know, he's like, no, you're the last piece of Emmett we have left. Because, you know, the time machine's still there. That's a piece of Emmett, but they're going to destroy that. They know damn well they're going to destroy that. So he says, no, C-3PO, you're the last thing we're going to have. C-3PO says, no, I have to do this. And I think that's cool because simultaneously, C-3PO and the time machine are destroyed simultaneously, and that's the last piece of Emmett. And I think that's a better way to send it off, you know, if that makes any sense. So that's how I came up with that, and I think it's a very good way to destroy Stay Puft. I think that was a clever thing I did. And to destroy the time machine, of course. So yeah, and then I was pretty much just talking about everything that happened in episode 30. And I'm ignoring right here episode 29. But yeah, this is a great episode too, and we get the whole Rick and Travis thing, and you know, I had this idea too of this is going to be the final point of their conflict. Like after this right here, they're going to be friends again. Maybe in the future there might be another problem between them, I don't know, but they're going to end the season on good terms. So right here I decided, okay, this is going to be the last conflict between them. How do I get Rick and Travis to get along right here after the little banter here? So I decided for Travis to have this little monologue here about what Emmett told him, what Emmett taught him, what his subconscious taught him, that Rick can be a good person. Rick can sacrifice himself for Travis. See, right here, this is the original timeline Rick. You know, Emmett told Travis, this is the kind of person Rick can be if you make amends with him. Mistakes can happen, and you have to pay the consequences right here. When Emmett let Rick die, he's paying the consequences right there by getting killed by Negan. That's what I tried to convey right there. The fact that he let Rick get killed by Pinhead, he's going to suffer the consequences by getting killed by Negan. And right here, Travis is saying, okay, I killed Daryl. My consequence should be you killing me right here. Because Travis has completely changed by this point. Excuse me. I'm surprised I've been able to talk this long, by the way. At least I have my water with me. If I didn't have my water, I would not be able to talk for 5 minutes, probably. So yeah, Travis pretty much says, okay, you can kill me, you've won. And Rick has realized, okay, Travis is not this terrible person I thought he was. So finally, Rick decides to help, and he takes down Joker before he can get to the time machine. And right here, Joker has completely lost. He's getting stabbed, and he's getting hit by this big monster. So yeah, just, it's crazy, you know? I love how this played out. I loved how this whole season just worked. Like, how everything just came to be like this. I don't know, I'm just really proud of this. And like I said, hopefully one day this show can get kind of popular, get a lot of views and stuff. Alright, so here we have the Joker box, and he's going to be in there. So, yeah, I decided not to kill the Joker because I think you can do more with him. I think he's a very different character. He can, you know, he's got very many sides to him. And I always think it's cool when you get a villain that sticks around for a long time. Like Negan, for example, in The Walking Dead. If you don't read the comic series, spoiler alert, just skip ahead like a few seconds if you don't want to know. But Negan is still around in the comics. He did not die. He's been around for a while, actually, and I like that about that, you know. Because many other shows and movies, they'll kill the villain like in the first installment. You know, like in a movie, they'll kill the villain right away, or they'll keep him around for a few sequels, which I like. Like say X-Men, for example, you could say Magneto's the villain, but Magneto never really dies. He stays around, and there's other villains, and sometimes Magneto teams up with the X-Men and helps them. Like in X-Men 2, for example, the movie X-Men 2. So I think it's cool to keep a villain around if you know if they're a very interesting character. I think it's cool to keep them around. So yeah, I decided not to kill the Joker. Maybe I can do something else with him in the future, but for now he's in a prison. Maybe he'll be in the prison. He'll be in his box for the rest of the show. I don't know yet. Well, I actually do know what's going to happen, but I'm not going to say anything. I know in advance right now what's going to happen until probably Season 5. Main points, at least. Things could change, though. Don't get me wrong. I haven't written Season 4 or 5 yet. So I don't know. I could probably change my mind on stuff. But right now, in my head, I know what's going to happen in Season 4 and 5. In terms of, like, major things. Like, minor things, I don't know. You know, those could change easily. But major plot points, I know for Season 4 and 5. I know for sure. In my mind right now. And I'm going to start writing Season 4 soon, I think. And I love writing the episodes. That's probably... That and doing the editing. The editing can be a pain, but it's just when you're taking all the pictures and recording your voice, that's kind of the hard part. Because it just takes so long, you know what I mean? Because like when you record your voice, you like might mess up a line and have to redo it. What I do, by the way, when I record my voice, I literally just read from beginning to end the episode. Like I keep changing voices when I read. Okay, this is the Joker's line. Okay, next line is Jeffrey. I have to change my voice to Jeffrey. I have to change my voice to Rick. The next line. So that's what I do. I change my voice each line. It's just one time reading through. I do one take pretty much. But if I mess up a line, I'll just restart that line. I'll just say it again. So that can be a pain sometimes, but it's no big deal. The real challenge is, like I said, taking all the pictures. That's pretty much the real challenge. Editing and all that stuff, it takes a long time, but at least you have everything done for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have all the pictures, you have all the voiceover, you have all the sound files, all that stuff. So, I'll say the picture taking is the hardest part. Writing the episode can be fun, though. I'll say that can be fun, because you get to do so much. You can just, I don't like that, let me go delete that and put something else in. Oh, I like that idea better, you know. Go back and change something if you need to. And write all this fun dialogue. And here we go, the big episode 30, Marshmallow Madness. Oh, by the way, I forgot to talk about the episode 29 title. Gunfight at the KO Street. Now, if you don't know what that's a reference to, hopefully it sounds familiar at least. There's this old movie called Gunfight at the OK Corral, which took place at a corral where people shot each other. I think it was based on a true story, right? Is that a real event that happened? Gunfight at the OK Corral? But it was also a movie. So I decided for episode 29, because that's another battle episode, the third battle, I needed to use... that was one of the titles, by the way. When I first started doing this series, I wrote down a bunch of titles I thought could work for episodes. So I wrote Gunfight at the KO Street. Now, what that is, you know, Gunfight at the OK Corral. I just switched the K and O because Funko Street, if you take out fun, it's Co Street, right? It's KO Street. So instead of OK Corral, I put KO Street for Funko Street. If that makes any sense. So it's called Gunfight at the OK Street. And also in that episode, in episode 29, it's not really a gunfight. There's not one single shot fired in episode 29, yet it's called a gunfight at KO Street. The reason I decided to go with it is because Rick has this line where he's like, when he's killing Travis, he's like, fight back, I brought a knife to a gunfight, because Travis has a gun, Rick has a knife. So I decided to include that line so the title would make sense. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, Rick has a line saying, gunfight, I brought a knife to a gunfight. So that's why it's called Gunfight. Even though there isn't a single shot fired in episode 29. Now, in episode 30, it was pretty easy to come up with this title, Marshmallow Madness. I mean, It's not really a reference to March Madness, but I guess you could call it a reference to March Madness if you want. It's not really supposed to be, but you know, it's always good to have some alliteration. Like I had an episode in season 1 called Monster Mash. So yeah, I decided to call this Marshmallow Madness. I was going to call it Marshmallow something because Stay Puffed. So yeah. And if you notice too, the text at the beginning was white rather than the traditional blue. I also did that in the season 2 finale, which was a Deadpool episode pretty much. I made all the text red because it was a Deadpool episode. So I think each season finale I might change the title, the color of the text. I don't know if I'm going to do it every season finale, but maybe I will. And it's got to pertain to whatever's happening, obviously. So right here I made the text white because of the marshmallow. Stay Puffed is a white marshmallow. So yeah, the end credits are white also. So yeah, that's why I went with that. Alright, and then I thought this was funny. Ray and Slimer on the ground, and then Lewis falls on them and kills them. It's kind of sad, but yeah, that's what happens right there. And Lewis, of course, is like, "Oh, sorry you're dead, by the way." He's just a fun character. I mean, I'm glad that they made, you know, a pop of him. You gotta love Rick Moranis, man, if you watch Ghostbusters. One of my favorite movies. Obviously, if you can't tell, there's a lot of Ghostbusters in this season. And also a reason why I had so much Ghostbuster stuff was I actually kind of wanted to get rid of the Ghostbusters. Like, you know, not in a bad way, but season 1 and 2, you keep seeing these Ghostbuster guys and they have the car problem, right? So I wanted to incorporate them in this season, you know, in a big way, but also I wanted to kill them off because, like, all right, enough of this Ghostbuster stuff. It's like the same thing every time. But, you know, it's slightly different here because Ray survives. And he brings Dana in and all this stuff. So, yeah, pretty much anything Ghostbusters is done by the end of the season, except for Dana and Lewis, which, you know, they can stand on their own. I guess they're not Ghostbusters themselves. So, yeah. What was I gonna say now? Oh yeah, right here. Also, at the beginning of the episode, if you notice, when Travis is like, okay, Jeffrey and Lewis, you're going to drive the cars. Me and Rick are going to shoot and stab Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And Ray, you're going to try to convince Dana and Slimer to stop helping, or to, you know, to go back into your normal forms or whatever and stop fighting us. And then C-3PO is like, wait, what am I going to do? I don't have a job. Now, that's something else I wanted to include as part of C-3PO's sacrifice, is that, oh, see, look, he doesn't really have much to offer, yet ultimately, by the end, C-3PO does the biggest thing and actually destroys Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. He actually does have the biggest task. So I thought it would be interesting at the beginning there to have C-3PO say, wait, but Master Travis, you didn't give me a job to do. So you kind of don't have this, you know, the viewer doesn't think C-3PO is going to contribute anything, really. He's just like, oh, just watch the Joker for me. You know, even though you don't really need to, he's trapped in a box. So yeah, I thought it'd be cool to include that. So yeah, C-3PO does sacrifice himself here, which is sad. You know, I kind of get emotional watching it, I'm not gonna lie. You know, this is a little, you know, it's a stop motion. It's you know, little Funko Pops running around and stuff. But, you know, if you look at it as a story, you know, it's sad. C-3PO is this harmless, innocent robot, and he sacrifices himself. And, you know, you got the sad music in the background, and I'll see you soon, Master Emmett, right there. It's just, you know, it's a sad thing. And it just blows up. And by the way, I was watching these episodes on my laptop, you know, using regular sound. I didn't have headphones in. And I couldn't really hear the music or the sound effects that well. Well, I could hear the sound effects well, but the music I could not hear. And then I listened to them with headphones on. I could hear the music perfectly. So if you guys watch this on your phone or on your laptop or computer or whatever, I would highly recommend you use headphones. You'll hear everything a lot better. You know, you might not hear some of the dialogue that well if you're listening to it on regular speakers. I don't know. If you're watching it on a TV, for example, like on the YouTube app, like I use YouTube a lot on my PS4. I don't know if it sounds good on TV or not, but like I said, if you're using this on a phone or whatever, I recommend putting headphones in. You'll hear everything a lot better. So yeah. And then right here, they're pretty much blaming Deadpool for this, but Deadpool has a good point. Somebody would have thought of something eventually. I don't think 7, 8 people could keep their heads clear of something completely, for a long amount of time. So yeah, and I thought it'd be fun too to end this with Deadpool because he's a fun character. This season has a lot of ups and downs in it, but I wanted to end it on a happy note. C-3PO does kill himself, which is a very sad thing. But I wanted this to end on a happy note, kind of. Well, sort of. You kind of get the mysterious figure at the end there, which is just kind of like a cliffhanger, sort of. Not really a cliffhanger. It's just like a little surprise, I guess. It's for things to come. But I thought it'd be fun to end this with Deadpool being absolutely beyond annoying to Joker. Like, Joker's trapped in this box, and now he has to sit here, and he's forced to listen to Deadpool. I thought that would be like the perfect way to end this, because last season the Joker was the one who killed Deadpool, right? So now Deadpool's pretty much returning the favor here. He's like in a way, killing him by reading A Streetcar Named Desire, which is like my favorite book of all time. And that's why I have Deadpool holding the book there. I do own it. If you haven't read A Streetcar Named Desire, I highly recommend it. And of course I had to read the part where he shouts, "Stella!" Because that's a recognizable line. Like, some people may not know this book or the movie of the movie of the book. I highly recommend the movie too. I've seen it. But there's a famous line, "Stella!" that you've probably heard. So yeah, I thought it'd be fun to include that right there, because everybody probably knows that line. And look, who's that? Now, it may be obvious who that is. I don't know. Like, I don't know if many people, like, how many people who watch this know who that is. Like, I'm not gonna say who it is. You can go and look at my collection video, my unboxing videos of Funko Pops. You'll find who it is probably. But I'm not gonna say right here because I like to keep things secret. If you want to find out who it is, you better go search and figure it out. I think it's obvious who that is, though. Maybe it's not to whoever's watching this. Maybe they're not aware of what that is. Maybe they've heard of it, but I don't know. And what I will say, that what you saw right there is going to play a part in the future. I'm trying to be very not too specific. Oh, real quick, this is going to end very soon, but I thought it'd be fun to go back to the whole Wolverine thing, because last season he was stuck outside, so I'm going to bring him back too in the future. And Nathan Drake is an explorer, and he can help him get back inside the house because he knows his ins and outs. Alright, thank you guys for watching this. You're awesome.